what are you doing here? Like, why are you here?
Why are you here? Like, what? What is the goal?
What is the point?
There's no answer.
There's no answer. And I think that's what we're meant to believe.
These retrogrades and eclipse season tow my ass up for real.
She's got a lot going on.
You know what? I think I want to get back to just like watching stuff that I like, going back to movies that I enjoyed once before, like old movies that I really liked, and rewatching.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Recently, John and I watched Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Didn't we watch another one recently for nostalgia?
I don't remember.
Yeah, and it was just really enjoyable. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, I think I need to watch The
I feel
Princess
like-
Bride or something.
I feel like I want to watch stuff that like I watched before and like I just haven't watched in a long time.
That's partly because movies were better back then.
Yeah, they
They were
were.
better scripts, better shooting, better story, better camera, film
Yeah,
stock.
everything was on film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sound old.
Well,
Back
we're
when
not-
we were young.
We're not old. We're like I think we're a very good
Ripe.
age. Yeah.
We're like fresh peach.
Well, we're technically kind of middle-aged.
We are.
Creeping on.
How long do you want to live for?
I think, you know, if I can maintain this quality of life, like 100.
Okay.
So I'm like almost halfway through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm almost middle-aged.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, I feel like who knows, right? But I'm like, once we're in our like late 80s, like we're going to be kind of hobbling around and like.
I mean, but maybe not.
But maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe you're going to be like, doing headstands.
Yeah, because you really don't know. Because my mom is, if I'm 42, my mom is 72, and she is not hobbling around. My mom does Pilates like 4 times a week, like 4 to 5 times a week. Damn. She's not hobbling. And I mean, I know that she still has 8 years, but like 8 years is not a lot of years. I can't imagine that in 8 years she's going to just start hobbling.
Oh, the phone's ringing. Are you going to pick it up? Phone call ringing.
You don't need to do the ring because I'm gonna put the ring in later.
Natalie
See how I did it?
is, guys, okay, let me answer the phone.
Will you answer the damn phone? It's ringing. It's so loud.
Natalie is determined to make this a sketch comedy show. Okay, let me get it.
Finally. We don't need no chords. It's the universe.
Hello? What am I supposed to say?
Hey, Nat.
Oh,
Or,
hey.
Nat. Like, you pull it away.
Oh, hello? Oh, hey, Nat.
Can you do it with some conviction? Hey, Nat.
Hey, Nat. Hey, Nat. The universe called.
What did they say?
We have to do this again. Oh, my God. Okay.
Always ruining my makeup at the very top.
Take 2. Here we go. Hello? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Hey, Nat. The universe called.
What did they say?
Stand up for your right.
Don't give up the fight.
Hey. Well, there you go.
Well, there you go. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
I will say, I'm really loving how the people that have been commenting and stuff on our Instagram posts and our YouTube, they keep on adding phone emojis and saying, like, pick up the phone. It's calling. Listen, all I'm saying is keep going.
Keep going.
We love that.
We love the phone.
So you want to tell us why you picked that?
Yeah. Well, sure. We are. What are we celebrating?
Today is the full moon in Libra.
Libra.
And we have a sun in Aries.
Yeah.
And Libra is the cardinal, right?
Libra is cardinal.
Cardinal air. It's the scales. Libra's all about balance. It's ruled by Venus. And Libra is the sign that's always like, what is right? What is fair? You know, what is the right thing to do in this situation? Because Libra looks at all aspects. And I think specifically we're talking about stand up for your right, because we're combining that with the Aries sun, that strong, powerful fire energy combines with Libra.
Yeah. So if Libra is really interested in kind of creating harmony,
Yeah.
right? It is invested in relationships. So Aries is the sign about self, right? Like asserting self. Who am I as I enter the world? And Libra, which is its opposite sign, is now how do I interact with other? Like, how do I develop relationship with other? And how do I develop a really healthy and balanced relationship with other? And so as we're navigating that, we are looking to create a harmonious relationship. And so to do so, we are required to be able to kind of look at two sides. It's not always about ourselves. It's not always about what benefits the self, but also what might be beneficial for the relationship, right?
Yeah.
So how do I compromise? Or how do I allow for adjustments or space for movement, so that the flexibility, so that, again, I can cultivate and nurture a really kind of positive relationship with others.
Yeah. And not just other people, but also things.
Other things, with anything outside of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're talking about fairness, the Libra is really kind of always looking at what is fair.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we talk about, when we started the episode, stand up for your right, the stand up kind of feels like the Aries.
Yeah.
Like the stand up is like that, like, let's get up, and, for your right, or we'll talk about this today, but your right or for the right.
Yeah.
That feels very Libra.
Yeah.
For what is right. So standing up for what is right feels very like Aries, Libra together.
Totally. And, we're going to set the stage in a moment, but I do think it's just worth mentioning overall that, we're talking about an Aries sun with a Libra moon. And so when we're talking about those two things, just as a reminder, those are the polar opposites. So they complement each other. Every time that there's a full moon, it's going to be in the opposite sign of the sun, which is even cooler with what we're talking about, because we're talking about the relationship to the other thing and how, Libra is about relationship. We're really talking about that right now with this full moon. And the moon is the planet that is, or not the planet, but what would we say? The thing in the sky that rules our emotional space. So if we feel into a Libra moon, we're talking about it from an emotional aspect specifically. So to me, like, I feel like the emotional aspect of Libra is what is fair, what is loving, what is just, what is noble.
What is noble? I love that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's set the stage.
Yeah. So we know we have an Aries sun right now. And we know we have a Libra full moon right now.
Yeah.
Last time we were here with you, we were in the midst of Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde. Mercury has since gone direct.
Yes.
Station direct. And I believe today Venus is stationing direct.
Yes.
We're still in the shadow period of both of these retrogrades. So we're not quite in like the clear of them just yet. So we might not be able to see or understand kind of the lessons that maybe, we have, that they have bestowed upon us just yet. It might not be clear to us what was offered from these retrograde, what was revealed,
and what we learned. We might not be all the way there, but I do kind of feel like the full moon is definitely a time that you can release, reflect, maybe even have gratitude for.
Well, I think the full moon too, because I just think about the brightness of the full moon, the light of the full moon. It just feels so illuminating. And I think that's why when you always talk about the full moon being a time of reflection and gratitude, it's because the light is so bright, you can see things. You can see so much in the light, right? And so because of that, it feels like, okay, it's so illuminating. I'm able to kind of see the things that maybe I wouldn't be able to see otherwise, right? And that's where that reflection comes in. Okay, I can see the things that I need to see, or I'm able to see the things that I can be grateful for.
Yeah.
But again, what I think is so interesting, because it's Libra, and Libra is about discernment, I do think that's another quality of the Libra. And, full moon is a time of discernment as well, I believe. So, and now that we're out of this retrograde period, it's a time of discernment. And so everything's ripe for discernment. It's like, okay, let me kind of pay attention to what I can gather. And so again, even if we might not be able to
Have all the answers.
Yeah. Now is a really good time to ask the good questions.
Ooh, I love that.
Around specifically the themes of Mercury and Venus. So love, money, communication, relationships. What was bubbling up around the retrogrades, and now is a good time to kind of sit in reflection and gratitude from what might have transpired during that time.
Yeah, and I do want to also add one more thing, just as part of our stage that we are setting, is that also we just finished the eclipses. So the new moon solar eclipse happened during our last episode, if you want to listen to that. But, when you're in eclipse season, usually those are changes. Sometimes they're internal, sometimes they're external, but there's usually big change that's happening in our lives. And often it kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, sort of, right? And now I feel like all of the things that we went through is a lot.
Guys, I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't even gonna hold you. These retrogrades and eclipse season tore my ass up for real.
She's got a lot going on.
For real.
For sure.
Like, Natalie.
I know.
Like,
we don't want to get too personal, but
I am not even going to hold you on this shit, but it tore my ass up. So if you are just now coming out like, what the fuck? Know that you're not alone. We're going to make it. We are going to make it. But this shit
maybe this is dark, but like I picture like somebody like who's like kind of like covered in like burns and cuts and like scabs and is kind of like walking out of like a burning fire, like dragging their back foot and like, what the fuck just happened?
Literally. It's like, oh, am I alive? Like, did I make
your
it?
Hair is like singed.
Yeah, it was dark. Some shit went down. Okay, shit went down.
And just even acknowledging how shit goes down, like, is really helpful. I think it's really nice for us to go, oh my God, shit went down. You read all fours, right?
I still haven't finished it all the way.
Fuck. Can I talk about the one scene when she meets what's her face finally? The famous singer, and they finally meet that she was supposed to have the meeting with. Never mind.
Oh, I haven't gotten there.
I don't want to ruin it for you.
It's a triggering book for me. God, my hands are ashy. Well, all I can
some lotion?
No. Why are you drinking me? And Natalie wants to give me toast. She wants to give me lotion. We are in the middle of
Cancer rising.
We're in the middle of filming. It'll be okay.
I mean, listen, I want to make sure everybody's okay. I got camp counselor vibes. I'm like, is
do.
everybody good?
You do.
Do you need some sunscreen?
No, Taurus, Sun, Cancer rising. You're like, we are going to make sure that you are taken care of.
Yeah. John, don't I take really good care of you?
Sure.
What if he said no? I do take good care of you.
I said sure. I meant it. I'm not being sarcastic.
All right. We'll just leave that there.
We'll leave that over there.
We're going to leave that on the couch.
Okay, so coming
Actually, we're on the couch.
You were on the couch. So coming back to the stage, right? So we are coming out of what was potentially a tumultuous time for some people, and even if it wasn't, like, there was a lot of movement. Right?
Yes, in the world around us.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't, because it also depends on where these things hit your chart. So probably some degree of something was hitting your chart harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that means also that even if it wasn't hitting your chart, it could have been hitting somebody else who's close to you. And here we are talking about relationship again. Which is our theme.
So in addition to all of this, we're coming out of these things. And as we're moving out of these things, right, we had a big shift where we moved into a new season for Neptune. I think we want to talk about that.
We want to talk about Neptune and Aries.
Yeah, we want to talk about Neptune and Aries. Do you want to pull something up?
Sure.
We love Chani.
Yeah, so we just want to be clear that we're not like taking away.
We stan a Chani.
Yeah, go download the app or
We
follow her
a
content.
Chani. Okay.
Not just Chani, but every astrologer that we follow is talking about this transit, which is March 30th through October 22nd. She writes, if you've been having trouble getting your aspirations off the ground, let Neptune's return to Aries fuel your determination to make the first moves, even if they feel small. So it's this combination of like the littlest sort of, the little things can grow right now. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So we do want to segue into what our big kind of teaching is this season.
Yeah. Okay. So what we know is that we are in the season of the Fool. We've talked about that, right? We're in the season of Fool. We're in Aries season.
That's like the Fool in the tarot, which is like I'm walking and there's a cliff in front of me and I don't even know. I'm just walking.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like I'm going to do things my way.
I'm going to do things my way, and I don't know the consequences.
Right.
So I'm not really worried about it. And I mean, I've talked about this before, but I have an Aries, Mercury, and Venus. So I got that energy in me.
Yeah, like I'm going to do things my way and I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
But the Libra moon is saying, well, let's see what needs to be done. Let's actually see what needs to be done and assess how we can find the balance as we do it, right? It's going to get done. It's going to get done with either sign, right? Like the Aries is going to do it and Aries is just going to go for it.
I don't know if it's going to get done with Libra.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't know about Libra. They can't make a decision to save their lives.
Yeah, they do struggle to make a decision. It would take longer with the Libra. It would take longer to get done with the Libra.
It might be better in some ways.
It might be more thorough
and thoughtful.
With the Libra. But that is why with the combination, it's good.
It's chef's kiss.
It's chef's kiss. Because the Aries is going to kind of push the Libra along. Yeah. It's going to give that Libra that fire that it needs. Because here's the thing, Libra is cardinal. We don't want to forget about that. It does have that cardinal energy, right? Yeah. It does get things done. It just wants to make sure that things are done in a way that is appropriate.
This episode is feeling very Libra already. Let's get to the point. get to the point.
Okay, I even said, because it's so invested in fairness, it can sometimes be indecisive in order to move forward.
Yep.
They can stand still or freeze, and then, right?
Yeah, they can just be like, I like to tell this story about my nephew who's he's like triple air. I think he's like Libra rising, Libra sun, maybe an Aquarius moon. And one time we got him like a gift card, or he got a gift card for his birthday to Target.
Yeah.
My sister's a Capricorn, and we were like, let's take him to pick out a toy. He was like maybe 9 or 10. We take him to look at toys, and he was just like so overwhelmed with making a decision. Granted, he's 9, he's still a little, but like at that age, I would just be like, all right, I'm just getting the thing I want. And for him, he could not make a decision. He would pick something, then he'd be like, wait, but maybe what I really want is this, like this Lego. And, my sister's a Capricorn, and she's like, just decide. And both of us, these earth signs, are like, and we left Target after like over an hour. He didn't buy anything. Actually, maybe he did, but it was like not really, I don't even know. It was random as hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to tell that story when I talk about Libra.
No, I mean, it actually feels very Libra. My sister is a Libra, and like she's great at her job, but like, I mean, it takes her time to make a decision. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, she's a great boss, but like, honestly, when it comes to her own stuff, when it comes to her own life, she's
thoughtful.
She's indecisive, I would say. You know what I mean? So I think what we've been wanting to come back to, because at the very beginning of this podcast, and when we even decided we wanted to do this podcast, what was such a driving force for us was the social justice aspect, right? Nat and I love yoga, and so much of what we love about yoga is that yoga is really a practice of freedom and liberation. And we say this almost every episode because it's important to us, right? That we don't lose that piece of it.
Yeah.
And so for this particular episode, we have really felt inspired by everything that's happening in the world to like come back to it. Mm-hmm. There's so much going on.
This is such a full episode. We've realized that full moons are always the biggest, longest. Right. We're sorry. Not sorry.
No, we're not sorry.
We're not sorry.
We're not sorry.
I think just to piggyback off of that is that it's important to say yoga is political.
Well, you can't get away from that. And I think here's the thing. I as a teacher, I've often had other teachers and students even say to me directly and indirectly that yoga is not really the space for bringing in politics.
Yeah.
And I would say this. I do believe there is a way to be sensitive. It's not always appropriate to bring my own personal opinion into the room. However, when my opinion is in alignment with yoga ethics, and here's where we're starting to move into this shift, then my opinion is really no longer my opinion. It is the truth. This is what we believe. I can say we because we've talked about this.
Yes. She's not just speaking for me. We've already discussed this. So,
and this is how we start to make this shift. Because our teaching this week is Ahimsa and Satya, right? So Ahimsa is the first yama, and Satya is the second yama. And the yamas are the first limb of the 8-limb path. Yeah. The yamas are, I would say, restraints.
They call them restraints. I personally don't love that translation. Who am I to say?
Right.
But to me, I feel like they're guides. I visualize it as a guide.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why they're calling it restraints is it's like, it's looking at it from like, don't do this.
Things
don't
we want to be
that.
mindful of. Things we want to be aware of.
Things that we want to be aware of and thoughtful of.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we're just only doing once. It's not something that we're just doing on the mat. It's not something that we're just thinking about. It's something that we're living. And I think that that's important to talk about when we're talking about yoga, especially yoga ethics. It's like, how are we living our lives?
So when we're talking about Aries, which is like the doer, right? It's like the action. Like we want to take action, and it feels very like an activist sign, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about Libra, which also feels like a very activist sign because it's about fairness. We felt very inspired to talk about these two yamas and talk about yoga ethics and how important it is to be invested in the truth. And what is the truth? So I'm going to read something. I'm going to read a little excerpt from, it's called The Philosophy, Psychology, and Practice of Yoga by Sri Swami Chidananda. Okay, so I'm going to read it and we'll chat about it.
I've never heard this. Or have I?
I think so. It's written in the thing. So it's about the first two yamas, ahimsa and satya. The second great vow for the yoga student to take is the vow of truthfulness, because God is truth, and anything that contradicts truth contradicts God, denies God. Hence the vow of truthfulness. There are sayings in Sanskrit which praise these two vows of satyam and ahimsa, of truth and nonviolence, as among the highest principles of dharma or righteousness. Ahimsa paramo dharma is one saying. It means non-injury is the highest form of righteousness, the highest expression of righteousness. There is another saying, Satyam Nasti Parano Dharma. It means higher than truth, there is no other dharma. So that's from this particular writing. And I know we're talking about God, and that can be a little triggering for some. I just want to speak on that for a moment. We can always edit out the word God and replace it with something else. Mm-hmm. The divine.
Yeah,
the
we
universe.
talked about this with Ishvara Pranidhana, which is,
right.
Like the, surrender to something bigger than you.
A higher vibration.
Nature, your ancestors, like just kind of living ethically, like just something that's outside of you. But something that feels sacred.
What I take this to mean is that, so sat is the root word is truth. And I actually have Satnam tattooed on my body.
Show the people.
Satnam is tattooed on my body. And Sat, it means truth. Nam is to name or to honor, or I am my truth. I honor my truth. And in the context of yoga, Sat is, the truth is that I am a manifestation of something bigger. I am a manifestation of God or the divine or universal consciousness. That is the truth. So if I am expressing truth, if I am sharing truth, telling the truth, it is devotional.
Yes.
Then I am expressing the divine. I am tapping into something that is divine. I am expressing a universal vibration.
Yeah.
Right? That is what being in alignment with the truth is.
Yes.
According to yoga. So when we're talking about Satya, it's not just like, telling the truth of like...
Really quick, we didn't actually define Satya for the people at home.
Sure.
Let's define it.
Okay, cool. Because I got all in. I went in.
So Satya, one of the yamas, is truthfulness, right?
And what is ahimsa? Because we also didn't...
Ahimsa is non-harm. Mm-hmm. And so it's like using those two things when we're speaking to this moment. Mm-hmm. But Satya, meaning truthfulness, is not just being like, don't lie, like, don't be Pinocchio, like the truth, meaning the thing that's the big truth. And should we talk about what we've been discussing about truth?
Yes.
And how, if we're talking about truth from the lens of, let's say, our ancestors, let's say the people who came before us, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking about all the things that happened in this world for you to become who you are now. Mm-hmm. And that can be on a small level, that can be on a micro level with your family, your origin. How did you get here? Who sacrificed for you to be here in this moment? But also on that macro level, which is when we're talking about Neptune and Aries, we're talking about Pluto and Aquarius, we're talking about these bigger themes of the world, is that people sacrifice so much for us to have rights as women, as gay, queer people, as people of color, just at all, like to own things, to love who we want to love, to practice what religion we want to practice. There was so much sacrifice and so much care that went into that when we are living in truth, we are honoring the people that came before us. When we're living in truth, we're honoring the people that sacrificed for us to have what we actually have. And so that's why when Court and I are talking about what is the truth and what we believe the truth is living ethically, is honoring that.
Yeah.
Because that's like a really big thing.
Yeah.
And that goes back to our Libra theme, which is like honoring the relationships, even with things that aren't here anymore, people that have passed on. And so that's why we feel like it's so important right now to talk about Satya, truthfulness, the truth, and should we continue on into?
And I think it's Well, I think you were speaking about this to me because just recently, Cory Booker, right?
Yes. Cory Booker, who just did that 25-hour stand-in or filibuster, which broke the record. And, from my understanding, the reason why he was doing it is just to be in his truth, to live his Satya. And I mean, also that's an example of ahimsa, because that non-harm, that compassion, that care is so important. Ahimsa is not passive, y'all. Ahimsa is not like, I am just nice. No, ahimsa is fierce AF. It is like,
Would you say that soft power?
Soft power is like the theme right now, because
that feels very Libra.
It feels so Libra, because it's like there's power when you do the right thing. There's power, and we say right thing because we are talking about what we believe is right.
Because it's in alignment with value, like with what we value. It's in alignment with morals. It's in alignment with yoga ethics.
Yes. And just to go on to that Cory Booker example, I also feel like we've talked about this too, and so have other astrologers, but it's very Neptune and Aries, because it's like this moment of being like, I am going to speak to what is right. And in that, I do have a quote. I do have a quote.
I love a quote.
It's like, we have quotes.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I'm like clearly an elder millennial. I'm like, how does this work? There's so many quotes here, right? I have a few of them. Here's one of them that he said: I am here in this body because of past generations that fought to uphold the Constitution, not because the Constitution was real to them, but because they brought reality and hope and love and promise to the Constitution. How is that? That is 100%. Why are you laughing?
No, it's just so good.
You're like, I'm crying, I'm laughing. But it's like that is that example of honoring that truth to the divine. And when we're talking about divine in this context, we're talking about it in terms of ancestors.
Yeah.
Like the generations that fought to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah.
And he's doing it. He even says, I don't know, John was like, I don't know about this one, but I confess that I have been imperfect. I confess that I have been inadequate to the moment. I confess that the Democratic Party had made terrible mistakes that gave lane to this demagogue. I confess we all must look in the mirror and say, we will do better.
We'll talk about a truth.
Talk about a truth. Sometimes Satya is, I like to use this example, and this is kind of like, this is a little more pop culture example of Satya. But like, have you ever gone on a date with somebody, first date, let's say it was like, a Hinge date or something, and they were fine, like there's nothing wrong with them, but you're just not feeling it, and they were feeling it. And then they keep like texting you and they're trying to hang out again. And you have to pull out some Satya at some point, even though it's uncomfortable, right? Yeah. It's actually kinder, right? It's actually more ahimsa.
Yeah.
And Satya, if you go, listen, you're great. I think you're amazing. I'm just not feeling it. So I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
And while that initial moment might hurt that person, right? That initial reveal.
But it's that long-term ahimsa.
It's the long-term ahimsa. And also, you know, I was teaching Satya last week in class, actually, because Aries season. And there was an article that I was pulling it from, but it was before we speak, before we express ourselves, asking the question, is this necessary? Is this kind? And kindness is not always just, I'm being nice, but kindness is the long-term ahimsa. And it comes from the truth. It comes, I mean, if we're talking about the chakra system, we're thinking about, I think Satya is very like at your core. And ahimsa is very heart-centered. And then we have our fifth, which is
how you express the two of them.
Yeah. So I feel together. Like speak up. Yeah. Get up, stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up for your right.
Yeah.
You know?
Stand up for your right.
Say it.
Yeah.
Say it like Cory Booker.
Yeah. Yeah.
and AOC and Bernie, who are touring right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not trying to get into the nitty-gritty of politics.
Or even like co-sign, because I think too, we were talking about this of like how easy it is to kind of get swayed by propaganda, because it's like, we obviously, you know, we're not hiding what our, you know, political like leanings are, you know what I mean? Like there's no like,
secret.
Like, surprise, we don't fuck with Trump. You know what I mean? Surprise, like we believe in equity for all people. Like duh, you know what I mean? No surprise here. But I do think that like it is very easy, obviously, as we have seen, for people to like latch on to a narrative and go ham with it, go haywire. It's like, oh, okay, like I see this, I'm watching this on Fox News, or I get this little, you know, TikTok, and it's like, oh, now this truth that I've been fed becomes my truth. And something that we have been discussing is just like, when does a truth become the truth, you know? And something that we have been really talking about is, again, the truth for us is, it always comes down to, is this in alignment with the divine, you know? And that's what it always kind of boils down to.
Yeah.
But also I think something that, I don't know if we should go there just yet, because I want you to be able to, because now I'm getting ready to go talk about your own personal
I want to
truth.
piggyback on this if we can. So just to go back to, we're getting fed all this information, especially with the internet. And I do always talk about, I'm like, the internet actually might be the downfall of man. Like it was a windfall. I say man, but I mean humanity. It was a windfall in a lot of ways. But I think that because of the internet, we have a lot of misinformation. And now with AI, with the way that we can manipulate images and we can create propaganda on either side, on any side of anything, that what we were discussing is, before you take something and make it your truth, make it the truth, share it with people, is to research it. Be like, is this accurate? Because even things that I like, that are in alignment with things that I care about, it's like, wait, before I share this, is this actually true?
Coming back to that word discernment, we're coming back to the discernment of just like, really?
Yes.
Because viveka is the Sanskrit word for that. Viveka, discernment. It's like actually taking your time to go, let me look at this. Let me pull this apart a little bit. And how can I make sure that this is what it actually presents itself to be?
Right. Because at the end of the day, if we are looking to be an agent of change, if we are looking to create the change that we want to see in the world, we're not going to get there by continuing to feed the illusion or the misinformation. We don't want to feed that misinformation animal like more food. We want to starve out that misinformation and make sure that we stay clear. I feel like there's about, I'm just getting here now, but I'm like, this is all about clarity. Let's clear some things so that it's what we're sharing is true. Because do we want to live in a world that's built off of a false reality? Do we want to live in a world that, even if it's towards our side, do we want to live in a world that's unethical?
Well, I think we're moving out of that, because that's what that Neptune in Pisces was all about, and we're moving out of that. So it's time. We're shaking things up, and it's like, okay, it's time to wake up.
Yes, and in addition to that, yoga is so much about, and we're going back to the self, but it's like it's starting with you. It starts with you. You have soft power. You have power. And what you do, knowing that you're good here, is important. Starting here. And that's why we get on our mat and we do some asana, or we sit on our meditation cushion and we meditate, or we write our morning pages, or we take a moment to look at our dog or our child or the plants outside and just go, what's up with me? Let me start here first, because that's going to affect the world.
Want to read that sutra?
Sure. So this is actually pulled from a Yoga International article. The writer's name is Irene Petrix. Gosh, I hope I got that right. I'm sorry. So they write further, the Yoga Sutra 2.36 states that when we perfect Satya, we gain the siddhi power of manifesting our speech. What we say comes true. So when we perfect the truth, we gain the power to manifest our speech. That means that we have power. When we do really get clear on what is our truth, it's so powerful when we express it.
And also what I take from that is that when we get so clear on what our truth is, then we can then create that in the world. So if and again, truth always comes back to, if it's the context of the Yoga Sutra, the truth is that we are all like universal consciousness, and we are all operating as vessels of the divine. And if I am so clear on that, and if we could all get so clear on that, that is what we are then presenting out into the world. And all of this other bullshit, I mean, now I'm going into like, the most optimistic, like yogi, like woo-woo land.
Say it. We want to hear it.
But like, it won't be. None of this will be. You know what I mean? It's because we are operating on a low vibration. And this is why we do yoga, so that we can lift our vibration, we can elevate, and we can know the truth. And the truth is that I am universal consciousness and divine, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you, and so are fucking you. And if we all really knew that, then like this shit, Trump couldn't exist in the way that he does.
Yeah.
The government couldn't exist in the way that it does. None of it could. They couldn't.
Because we'd be living in this way that is just, it's a higher vibration. And it's about this.
But
ahimsa. It's about this, this truth.
But but what we can do is like, I can do my job, I can do my work, and you can do yours, 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 and that's what I urge you to do.
So what we're saying right now with this full moon, at the end of all these retrogrades, at the end of the eclipse season, is to get clear by asking questions. You might want to journal right now. This might be a time to journal. And in fact, we can put some journal prompts. I'll pop in some prompts.
You pop in some prompts,
into the podcast episode if you like to look at those. Get really clear so that way when you do share, it's coming from that universal truth in mind. It's coming from Satya and ahimsa. What else?
And stand up for your right.
That's right. Don't give up the fight.
Don't give up the fight.
We thank you so much for being with us. I know this was a really full episode. Courtney and I, we got a lot to say, and we are really loving all the special DMs and notes that everybody's been sending us. It really means a lot. And when you share the podcast or even just a clip from the podcast, it really means a lot because we're trying to share our information with the world. And so what we're trying to say is, in our most Aries way, is please share our podcast with somebody who you think would enjoy it. And rate us on all the things and write us a comment. If you like, I even got like 2 DMs this week where people were like, you know, you and Court are like my favorite teachers. It's so great I moved, but it's so great to find you here. Like, please go and tap in your little keys onto your little devices and make sure that you share it.
Put it in the review on either Spotify or Apple, whichever you're listening to, or YouTube, just so we can get some more reviews and rate us and just continue to listen to us because we really enjoy doing this, and it really warms our hearts that you are also enjoying listening. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. We love you.
Yay. Bye.
The Universe Called podcast with Natalie Burtney and Courtney Sauls. Filming and editing by John Meyer. Theme music by Chit Cray, Studio Inertia. Special thanks to Donna and Robbie Falks.